Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Talks. My name is Sebastian.
And I'm Josh, and today we're going to talk about the Gmail interface.
We're going to take a look at some primary features, such as reply versus reply all, CC versus BCC, archiving and deleting, and attachments.
So let's talk about reply versus reply all. We all know how to do the reply, but sometimes reply all can be a little complicated. Generally in a group email, it can be very important to reply all, so everybody's in the loop on what's going on. But specifically on a district-wide email, reply all sometimes gets used maybe a little bit more than it should. So sometimes that's challenging because we get a lot of emails. And if you're getting a lot of extra emails just because somebody's replying all to an all district email, sometimes that's a little excessive. So just be careful that when you hit reply all, especially on a large group email, such as a district-wide email, you are literally replying all and everybody in the district or everybody in that group is getting that email. So if you really want it to be a message for everyone, definitely hit reply all. But if it's specifically for the person who sent the email, it's much better to use just the reply button.
Because like Josh was saying, sometimes we get overwhelmed with emails, so please be aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look at CC versus BCC. You know, I know what CC is, and I'm pretty sure everyone does.
Sure.
It's a carbon copy, so you just add people onto a discussion. I actually didn't know what BCC meant until like a few days ago. So could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, BCC is blind carbon copy. So if you want somebody to be a part of an email, but you don't necessarily want the people you're sending the email to or the people in the CC category to see that you're adding them to it, that's a great place to do that. So maybe you have an email for a group of folks, but there's another person you'd like to include, but it might be problematic for the other group to see that or something to that effect. It generally leans towards feeling a little shady using BCC, but there definitely can be times where, maybe you want a supervisor involved, but it feels not the right time to include them publicly on the thing. So that's where BCC can come into play. So it's kind of, maybe you could call it a tricky way to include somebody without everybody knowing. One other feature of BCC that's actually really cool also is if you want to send an email to a bunch of people, but you want to try to respect the rights of those people not to have their email shared with everybody, where to or CC, everybody would be able to see those people's email addresses. If you put everybody in the BCC, then everybody will get the email, but not everybody will see the email addresses. So that kind of can protect some, some personal data if it's a personal email. Now, district situation, everybody pretty much has access anyway, so it's kind of a moot point there. But if you're emailing outside folks and you don't want to share their email with everybody, that can be a way to use BCC as well.
Okay. Let's take a look at archiving versus deleting. Personally, I try to archive everything. So even if it's spam, I actually archive it. Because
That's interesting.
I know that I can go back and search for something.
Sure.
And of course, I'm not going to search for spam, but it's not like we have space limits on our email.
That is true. With our feature set through Google being an education entity, we have a ton of data. We basically have unlimited for the most part. So there shouldn't be a major issue of trying to minimize your data in your email. I would agree. I use archive primarily. I use my inbox basically as a to-do list. So if my inbox is full of emails of things that I need to do and some I don't, it could get really confusing. So what I do is leave everything in my inbox that needs to be taken care of, and then everything else gets archived and I can go find it later.
And be aware that if you archive something, you can use the search feature to find the document later on. So it's not gone.
Yeah.
But if you delete something, I believe it's gone.
It will be. It'll go into the delete, the garbage folder, and I believe it's 30 days. It'll sit in there, and after 30 days, it will be eliminated. So just be aware of that feature.
Okay.
But yeah, I like using archive because it just makes it really clean. Definitely there are different ways to run an inbox. You can use your inbox as this is where everything goes, and I'll mark it as unread if I want to make sure to go look at it later, and that's fine too. But I found for me, the better way to do it is to archive things I don't need to deal with right away, keep everything in the inbox that needs to be done, and it just keeps everything really clean.
Yeah, and of course, feel free to use whatever method works best for you. This is just a method that we use.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about attachments real quick. So, there used to be a 25 megabyte limit on attachments, and I think that still exists with many email clients, such as if you use Yahoo or some kind of outside client. But if you use the district email, if something is above 25 megabytes, it'll automatically push it up to Google Drive, and I believe they send a link. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it'll send a link. So it automatically, when you upload a file that's over 25 megs, it'll pop up a message and says, this is too big for Gmail, we're gonna load this into Drive, and then once it's finished uploading to Drive, you can hit send on the email. It'll pop up another window that will show you that it's using Drive, and it says, do you wanna share this? Yes, you do. And it's great, because now you have the file in Drive, and now the person can get that file via Drive without having to do extra steps.
And
So it's pretty cool.
here's another tip. If you do everything in Drive, so if you're using Sheets and all of the Google features, then you can just share it from Drive
True.
instead of sending an email.
Yeah, no, it's a great feature. So let's transition into some more advanced features. This
Okay.
is where we're gonna actually show you some screen grabs and you can kind of get a better feel for some of the more advanced features. We're not gonna go into everything that you could do in here because it's immense, but we'll show you some of the key ones that we thought were important to show today. So first of all, let's show details. So if you have an email and you might think it's suspect, or you just want to make sure that it's from the person that you think it's from, because people can manipulate email addresses. They can manipulate the display name, they can spoof the account. So there are things that can happen, and being able to see the details can help you feel more comfortable that you're communicating with the person that you want to be. So once in an email, you can see right here under the display name and the email, there's a little drop down that says show details. If you click it, you can see the details. What's great about this is you can see the actual full email address of the person that sent it. You can see who it was all to. And then there's date and some more information as well. What's nice is if you have an email from somebody that seems like a legitimate person, but what they're saying doesn't sound legitimate, you can go in here and see, is the email address actually an internal email address, or at least an email address that you trust? Because a lot of times people will spoof the latter part of the email from another service, but have the front end look like somebody that you might know. So this is a great way to verify if you're getting an email from the person you think you're getting it from.
But they cannot copy the email exactly. So if you see something from @ddsd40.com
Or .org.
.org, if you see .org, then you know it's ours. If you
Yes.
see it's .com, then you know it's
Exactly.
not. It's not our email.
Yep. So that's a great way to make sure that you're getting emails that you really want. Beyond that, we also have mute. So like we were talking about reply and reply all. If somebody is replying all and you would prefer not to see any more of those,
But please don't mute me.
yeah, don't mute Sebastian. He's very important. What you can do is within this email, you can see on the right here, there's a more button with a drop down. If you click more and you go down to mute, if you click mute, what it will do is automatically mute that conversation, so you will not see any more emails from that specific group. So it's nice for those features where it's maybe getting a little excessive on the reply all, and now you don't have to see those anymore.
But do be careful with the mute, because once you set it, if something important keeps coming out on that conversation,
You're not
you
gonna
won't
see
get it.
Yeah. Now the email still exists in your system, so if you wanted to go find it later, it's not like it deleted it. It's just basically turned notifications off for that thread. So another advanced feature that's pretty cool is labels. It's kind of nice to be able to label your specific emails in specific categories so you can find them more easily later. If you want to do that, go to the left and click more. And at the very bottom, you have manage labels and create new labels. I'm gonna create a new label. I'm gonna call it Tech Talks. And you have some nesting options. I generally just create it without nesting. And now we have a label. So if I have this email here and I wanna add it to this specific label, or add the label to it, right here there's a label button at the top. Click label, and now you can select Tech Talks and hit apply. Once you do that, now you can see that the label is created right here. And if you go on the left, you can see there's a label here called Tech Talks. Now I can click it, and now I see all the emails within that label. So it's just another way to categorize. It's almost like a folder, but it's a label instead. Kind of a cool feature.
And that does work with archived stuff too.
Yes, archived. As long as you don't delete it, it'll be on there until you change it.
Okay. Let's take a look at signatures. I think personally they're very useful, and we do ask that you have one.
Yeah, they're definitely a huge benefit for us when we try to come to your room to help you with something or send equipment your way. It saves the extra steps of trying to figure out exactly where you're at. So in order to do that, what you want to do is in your email, go to the right and click on the gear that's settings, and then click settings. And towards the bottom, you have a box here that says signature. Make sure you turn it on, and then you can add your signature here. You also have some settings above where you can format it specifically how you like. What we generally ask is obviously your name, your building, your room would be very beneficial. Your extension can be helpful as well, but I would argue the most important is name, location, and your specific location within the building, like your room number.
Yes, the room number is very, very helpful, especially to me.
Yeah, we find that in IT all the time that that's one that is often left out, understandably, but is something that we always have to go back and clarify with the user. So if you have it in there, we don't have to do that. All right, so let's transition into some other features. These would be plugins. So additional things that you can add to Gmail to make other features possible. So let's look at Boomerang first, because that's built in within the settings that we have within the district. So if you have an email here and you want to boomerang it, you can go right here to the right where it says boomerang, or you can go to the bottom, I believe, when you hit reply. And if you hit reply to an email, you can see some boomerang settings. But if you don't want to reply, but you automatically want to boomerang it, you can go right here to the right and click boomerang. And now you have some options. You can say return conversation to inbox only if nobody responds. You can set some time frames for when you want it to come back to your inbox. And from there, that's basically how you use it. So if I want this to come back only if nobody responds, and I want it to come back in 2 days, I click that. You'll get a box that comes up and says you did it, and the box will go away, and now that email will be sent back in 2 days.
So then if the person doesn't respond, it comes back in 2 days?
Correct. Because I selected that box. Now, if you don't do that, it'll come back in 2 days no matter what. If somebody responds, then that 2 days is now null and void because they initiated a conversation.
So let's take a look at how we can actually see if somebody saw our email.
Yeah, so that's another plugin called Streak. Now it does a ton of things beyond this,
Yes.
but the main feature that I use is just the ability to see if somebody saw an email. So let's send an email to Sebastian.
Okay, I'm waiting for your email, Josh.
And here we go, send. Now what I'm gonna do is I sent it, I have a 10-second delay, but I'm gonna go into my sent mail here and look at his email. And you can see right here, there's this eyeball, and this eyeball is grayed out. So he has not seen it yet. So now we'll see what happens when he clicks the email to view it.
Okay, I'm waiting for the email.
Okay, it'll be there in a moment. While he's waiting for it, one feature that we didn't plan on mentioning, but I'm gonna talk about really quick, is if you go into the gear settings and you go into settings and you want to undo send, which is an option where once you send it, you made a mistake or you want to stop that, you can turn on undo send. So you can click this checkbox here and you can send cancellation period and you can select that for different times. So 5, 10, 20, or 30 seconds, which allows you to send an email and have a little delay in case you notice that you missed something and you can bring it back.
Okay. So I just got your email. I'm gonna open it right now.
Okay, hold on 1 second. All right.
I just read it.
Okay, you just saw it. So we're gonna see this gray eyeball. I'm gonna refresh. And now you can see the eyeballs green. So now I know that he saw the email. He doesn't necessarily know that he saw the email. And over on the right, you have some tracking. So it shows 0 seconds ago, basically, it was viewed from Gmail. And you can click more details actually and see when it happened. And it's a nice feature. It's a nice feature where sometimes you can have it where you know, you set it up so when somebody sends you, when you send an email, they have to show that they received it. But in this case, it does it automatically.
And like we mentioned before, Streak has a lot of features to it. We're not going to get into all the features, but feel free to look around and see if there's something you like to use.
Yeah, it's great for managing all sorts of projects as I understand it, but even this one feature in my mind is worth it. So that's it for plugins for now. That was definitely just a quick overview, but we just wanted to show you so you get an idea of what's available. Shall we transition into some security issues?
Sure. I think the most important thing about security is if you see something suspicious, something that doesn't look quite right, report it immediately. So
Yeah.
call IT and let us know what's going on.
Another thing is, the classic Nigerian prince scam that does happen. If you get an email from anybody asking for money, be super, super wary.
Hey Josh, I just got an email that you were in the Bahamas needing money.
well-
Are you there?
I am not there. I wouldn't mind having you give me some money, but yeah, we don't want to reply to that. So again, anytime you're dealing with money or anything like that over the internet, obviously be really careful. Like we were talking about earlier with the show details, that's another way that you can try to prevent some of this kind of thing happening. If you're getting an email from somebody and you want to see exactly where it's coming from, you can look in the details and see what email address and where they're coming from.
And even if the details show that the email address is correct, please notify IT immediately because their email might have been hacked.
Sure. Also during tax time, if somebody's saying that they're from the IRS, they're not. IRS doesn't do that. So, just be very careful. And in addition to that, don't give out your birth date, your social security number, or other private information to anybody unless you're absolutely sure that they're a legitimate source. So it's just a good reminder to always be thinking of that. We can get busy, see emails, click on things, send information without really thinking about it too much, but be a little more vigilant and be careful.
And if you do believe that you were hacked in some way, so somebody else has access to your Gmail features, change your password as fast as you can and contact IT.
Yeah. And that's all we have for you today for Gmail interface.
All right, thanks for watching Tech Talks.
See you next time.
Oh, you gotta do the white balance? You done? Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Talks. My name's Sebastian. No, my name's not Sebastian.
It is, but first we're going to start with some primary features, which are things like reply versus reply all. We got to start over.
That's really weird.
Or we need to send you equipment. It's much beneficial.
Okay. CCC, BCC, archiving versus deleting, and maybe some attachments.
There's not 3 C's in CCC. You said CCC.
Back in this community college. CCC and BCC. BCC, I haven't...
You said CCC again. CCC.
We're going to be looking at some basic features such as CC, BCC.